Yeah, I mean, I see that even with the podcast. The thing is that anybody who's experiencing any level of success is going to have people around them who are trying to convince that person that they should not be part of a larger entity. I mean, because like the idea of being independent and going solo is so attractive to people, and I 100% understand that. But also, it's like people who don't really have shit going on, I think a lot of times look at a person who's doing well in the music industry, and it's kind of like, well, whether they could verbalize this with words or not, they're kind of like, well, if I contribute to blowing up this thing, then I'm going to prosper in some way because I'm going to be able to be more involved in your career. Whereas if you're part of this group, then your career is kind of in the hands of the group and the leadership there.
I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, you have to think about what's best for you at that time. Right. You know, I mean, I'm sure a lot that, and not just in B2K's world, but I'm sure in a lot of situations. I was just thinking while you were talking about this the whole time, I just kept thinking about Bohemian Rhapsody, the whole movie, right? Yeah. And I'm sitting there watching how Freddie Mercury, he took the solo deal for $4 million. I think about, Justin Timberlake's moment. You know, I wasn't in the group. I don't know exactly, but let's say if Justin's as an artist, he's growing and evolving and he's doing more music, and maybe the other guys they're not as interested at that time because everyone's like kind of going off to college. Everyone's kind of went on and, you know, and they're trying their new things. But what if this guy is still in the studio? What if this guy is still dancing? Yeah. You know what I mean? You know, I believe that a lot of times people get victimized, and that may not be necessarily the case, right? Because if I'm Justin and like I'm like, yo, Adam, I need you to, you know, pull up to the studio. We cutting this record, you know, or the stuff that we were doing. I'm not feeling that. Like I'm on some, like I'm really tapped in. You know, because maybe this was just it's different. That's like with Michael. Like, you know, do you think Michael was like wanted to go solo because he was like, because it was the money was there, or was he really, you know, did he really not want to be in the groove? Did he really not, you know, the things pushed him away? Was it really his dad? Was the music that he was doing felt more him? Like, you know what I mean? Maybe this is stuff that they didn't want to try. Like,
it's interesting because in retrospect with somebody like Michael Jackson or Beyonce, it's kind of like, we've seen them go on to experience such insane levels of success that it's kind of like, of course you had to leave your group in order to experience that level of success. But what we don't really think about is like, well, what if that success had been like contained within the group?
That is fire.
You know?
Do you think, that's a fucking good one.
Like what if Beyonce's biggest records were her in Destiny's Child doing it? Yeah, Destiny's Child would probably be the biggest female R&B group of all time.
So that ties back into what you said earlier. You think do you believe it's outside influence that causes that to want to separate them because they want to pull you into another circle? Because imagine if she just never did solo and she never did any solo album and she just stayed in the group.
I
don't think she would have not been just successful, but people, because she's the lead singer, or you get that emphasis already put on that stage, people are already gravitating to you and putting you out. That's like if you came and I'm like, well, I'm not taking this opportunity they want me on cover of Vogue by myself, but I'm not going to do it without you. Still force your group. She could have forced her. Her group is still there, but she could have forced her group the entire time if she wanted to.
Yeah. But ultimately,
I don't know that question. That's really but isn't that for one human being? Like we do want to get into our own self. Like you build your okay, you worked with this company. You did this in the past. This is your shit.
Yeah.
Don't you want to get in your own bag, basically?
And imagine if when I started this, it had been me and two other dudes doing all the interviews. But then as time goes by, it kind of starts to feel like, oh, like I'm the guy that's like really getting the good interviews, and maybe these other two dudes were just dudes that made sense for me to be doing interviews.
Maybe the world does that shit, bro.
I mean, that's always what happens. Yeah,
that's just pure outside influence.
Yeah, but even shit. Like, all right, let's say
like Boyz II Men is still okay. Wanye did some stuff solo, but Boyz II Men is still fucking popping. They fucking eating. They ready to go on tour right now.
Yeah.
They're still eating.
I mean, honestly, maybe part of the problem, maybe part of the thing is I remember when Boyz II Men were fucking huge.
And I'm the biggest selling boys group of all time.
But I don't think I could have told you the name of one of the members as just a fan. Which is kind of different than like Destiny's Child, where it's like she was just like, I didn't know the other two, but I knew Beyonce.
That's just deep.
Yeah.
Yo, this the politics of groups. Yo, this is a whole like documentary. We could really get some boy groups and sit some people down and interview their ass. Okay, this is deep.
The
guys and girls.
Exception to the rule, rap wise.
That would be crazy.
Rest in peace to Takeoff, but
yeah,
before Takeoff passed, the Migos seemed like the group that was going to stay together forever. Because but they were all so similar, so on the same page. They're like related. That's like they had a lot of the things in place that would keep them bonded together.
All right.
Now, granted, even that
they just grew up.
Well, Takeoff passed, and then also
it seemed like they was already wrapping it up before they did that last record.
Yeah, and
that last record felt like the goodbye record, right? Yeah,
alleged girl drama. They all did their solo projects right before which Takeoff passed, kind of a couple years before that. Yeah,
they were together like what, 15 years?
Probably something like that. Yeah, I remember. 2010, 2011, they came out.
I mean, you know, people, all these different groups, man, they just go through this shit. I mean, it's an ongoing, and I believe people like groups. That's why we're seeing the success of these K-pop groups right now.
Yeah. Well, okay, but there you go. That's who you want.
Shit is crazy.
You want to make a group? You go to a country that does not really.
They got like 6, 7 cats in that.
They don't really care about like individuality in the way that Americans do. In America, everybody's all about free expression and creativity. You go to Asia, it's like, oh, there's a lot of concern for being a good member of society, a good part of the team, part of the group.
Right.
It's less individualistic. You go to China, you just don't see people wearing weird clothes. Just for an example, you know. But you go to a party in, you know, LA, everybody got a weird outfit. Everybody's trying to stand out. People don't really want to stand out as much there, so I feel like the group thing makes a lot more sense to them.
It's real organized, and from the perspective of what we've seen the past 30, 35, 40, 50 years, like with groups and wearing all the same clothes and shit, man, this world just changed.
Yeah,
America's different, man.
That's facts. So, okay, the group is there a moment where you really break up, or is it kind of slowly you separate and just go your separate ways?
Were there some moments?
Was there a blowout fight that just ended it?
There was definitely some moments, like no fist was thrown, but there was some arguments at, you know, maybe a show, you know, there was, but I feel like our arguments, once again, trickle down from the politics of the business. You get it? Because no one had a problem with some. I knew when this guy was doing something solo or this guy was doing solo. I don't believe we had that many problems that we couldn't work out. I feel like it was the politics of the business and the agendas of how the world is pulling. You know what I mean? There's just ways to go about things.
Do you remember the last time that you guys were all together before you spent a long period of time apart? Obviously, you're around each other now, but
I remember those times. It was sad, you know, especially as brotherhoods. It felt like our brother was being taken away, or you know what I mean, or we were going away. It was just very, 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 very sad time. But I do remember some of those times.
So what becomes of your life at that point? Like, what's your day to day become?
During when you are coming off of this huge success, you have to say to yourself, how do I continue to work? In this business, you got to handle your politics properly, right? I can't be, you know, you got to move in silence. You know, the things you probably, you know, you will be rewarded openly. So I say that to say that, like, you know, when you have a bad breakup like that and it's involving politics and business companies and record companies, that can make it a little difficult to try to move in the same business that you were strategically put in.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, I think that, you know, all of that is lessons learned. Right. And growth, and with growth and maturity, you know what I mean? You'll get to understand that the group B2K, like I said earlier, our previous tour was very successful, and we're hoping for the same success, if not more, you know, for this tour, and to be able to go back on tour 20 something years later, you know, off of a 3-4 year run, you know, that was the impact that group had made at that time. So, you know, and once again, that's a testament to our bond, our brotherhood. I believe we're going to call it Tour Boys for Life. That could be a working title, but as
Tour Boys?
No, Boys for Life.
Oh, okay.
It's off a title. Yeah, it's off a title track from our sophomore album.
Yeah, that's hard. If you haven't checked out Everything 420 yet, you are definitely missing out. From glass gear to infused sweets, they've got one of the best lineups online. They ship fast, it's always discreet, and their app makes shopping too easy. The deals are always running, and you can use code NOJUMPER for a little bonus at checkout. Shout out Everything 420.